Evie Madden, welcome to the Grapple Through podcast. It's lovely to have you here. One of the first shows of the new year. It's great to have you on. Talk to me about your 2022, because it seemed like it was a really good year for you in the ring. It seemed like you sort of like made some waves, really sort of rose up those ranks a little bit.
It's nice to hear that you think that as well. It's easy to doubt yourself sometimes, but yeah, it was a really big roller coaster of a year. I started off mentally not in a great place. I just feel like when we all came back from the pandemic in 2021, it was almost this like race. Obviously, everyone was desperate to wrestle, get back on shows, and I had more shows than I'd ever dreamed of having. It was amazing, but the training schools actually weren't open yet. Right, okay. So you were suddenly doing all these shows, and I had access to like an open ring where you could go on your own with like maybe one or two people, like a bubble, but that was it. So suddenly I'm doing all these shows, and then I feel like I'm not, you always want to get better. Yeah, you feel like underprepared in a way. I felt very underprepared, and I've always doubted myself anyway. So it was kind of like two things colliding with each other, really, the self-doubt and then feeling like I didn't have maybe enough preparation. So when 2022 started, I was just desperate to build my confidence. And, the school started to open. I got back into training. And I have a really busy shoot job. Yeah. So that kind of took over a little bit. And again, I just felt like I was climbing the ranks before I actually felt ready. Sure. Happened a bit too fast. Yeah, I did feel like that, and I felt like everyone around me thought that too. I mean, whether they did or not, I don't know, but it's hard, isn't it? You think that you always think that like that's what they're thinking because you think it, but you don't really know. Exactly. So then I took a break, which was I thought about it for months and months, but it got to the point that I was dreading doing shows. Because I felt so underprepared, and I wanted to. Obviously, everyone wants to do a show and do their best. Of course, they do, because you care so much. So I made the decision to take some time out after I had some championship belts. I was what seemed like up here, but I felt so low. Yeah. But that time out was honestly the best thing I could have done. I trained, I had some me time, I remembered why I love this, what am I working for? And then I came back and I feel like I kind of am really figuring out who I am now. Yeah. So the year's kind of been in two sections, and even though I had a break, they're kind of the most successful year. Because I just feel better in myself. Yeah, you had that sort of like internal reset. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. And then sort of going into this new year now, do you feel like prepared now in terms of what hopefully 2023 will have to offer, and that you are capable and have that ability to handle it? I really do. I feel like I'm in the best mindset I've ever been in. And wrestling's hard. It's so hard. Oh, yeah. So you have to be okay here and strong in your brain. And I really feel strong in my brain right now. So I'm just so excited to prove to myself that I can hang. And I want obviously everyone to think I'm great, obviously. But I want to think I'm great too. Yeah, well, that's important, isn't it? That's important. I think like a few things you touched on them is something we've spoken about with a lot of wrestlers is sort of knowing when to take that sort of like that mental health break for yourself or that physical break for yourself, and knowing sort of your limits. And even though you're wanting to do better, like you said, you were rising those ranks like maybe a bit sooner than you thought as well. And like sometimes in those positions it can be tough to take a step back because you're like, what if I don't get these opportunities again? But I think it's really important, isn't it? It's really important to know when your body's or your mind's at like that breaking point, and that you can take a step back. Yeah, it's scary. You just hit the nail on the head. It's feeling like you won't get those opportunities back. But I could go... Sorry, I'm going to cough.
No, that's all right.
I could go into those opportunities feeling half a person. Or I could say, do you know what? I'm just not ready. Because, you know, we all wrestle in front of a crowd of people. Some who are very kind. Some who are harsher.
A bit more judgy, yeah.
Yeah, and so... Oh, can I have a coffee? So, it's scary. You're learning to do something in front of people who are judging you. So, yeah, it was really hard. And I spent ages writing out this message that I was sending to the promoters that I was having to let down, and I probably rewrote it like 30 times.
You're like, no, it doesn't sound right. It's got to be better.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, I'm fluffing too much, or that's too blunt, and it's hard. You feel like everyone's going to forget about you. Everyone's going to overtake you. People aren't going to think that you're serious enough. But it was the best thing I could have done.
Yeah, and talk about... it's interesting you bring up the overtaking thing, because I don't think people have overtaken you as such. I'm not trying to suggest that. But the women's division in British wrestling at the minute, like across the country, is so phenomenal at the moment, with so many people who I'd say are sort of in a similar position to you, where like they've been doing it for a couple of years and they're rising through now. You're really starting to make a name for themselves. And I don't want it to seem like I'm saying like, are they sort of like challengers for spots? But like, it must be nice to know that there's that sort of competition, these people that can sort of raise you up because they're also in the same position.
I think, yeah, the key word is they raise you up. Like, it is so easy to compare yourself. Of course it is. I'm an absolute criminal for it. But at the same time, like, the women in British wrestling, they are the kindest, most supportive, like, genuinely, when you see people get things, we're all screaming for them. They're all your number one supporter. And when I step back, I cannot tell you the amount of women that message me to be like, I'm so proud of you. You've done the right thing. Like, you know, when you see your friends achieve, when like Ava White got Royal Quest, and I saw Rain debut at Eve, and you see all these people get things, and it pushes you to keep pushing, because obviously you want to do it with them, but the talent is so unbelievable. It's so inspiring. Yeah,
and it also, I guess it's sort of like the case where you can look at them and be like, well, I want for that for myself, but also like we're at similar levels, and if they can do it, that means I can do it. That gives you that more belief in yourself that it's possible.
Exactly. You know, all of us started walking into a ring having no idea how to do this once. We all will progress at our own pace. We're all going to be good at one thing and bad at another and whatever. We all have similar... Funny, so many women in British wrestling doubt themselves as well. So we all encourage each other through that. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. The talent that have... When NXT UK and all that happened, it felt like so much talent had been taken. And I feel like the girls grabbed that opportunity by the balls and ran with it.
Yeah, no, I get it, because we've said this to a few people on the podcast already. The people who I think last year were the rising stars, like your Lizzie Evos and your Alexis Falcons and people like that, because it seems like NXT UK, you know, it was it divided opinion, let's say. It divided opinion. But I think without it, you wouldn't see the stars you're seeing now, because those spots wouldn't have been open to them.
I agree.
And I think that's why it's so important. That's why it was so good for British wrestling. You know, however you feel about it. I have mixed views about it myself, but you can say that Lizzie Evo, Alexis Falcon, you know, those type of people might not be at the top of the cards they're at now if the people who had left for NXT were still there and had been there the whole time.
Yeah, and you know, they had a decision really to make. They could keep doing what they were doing, or they could be like, right, that spot's opened, that's mine. Yeah. And I'm having it. And it's a testament as well to the hard work they have put in to raise the bar of the women's division up to here, you know, and God, there's so many women, but I feel like, you know, Lizzie and Alexis are the people you kind of think of at the forefront. I'd put Tonga up there as well.
Yeah, Tonga's great.
Kanji too, you know, they really have, but they also lift everyone with them.
Oh yeah, exactly, because they move up, and that means the lower spots are free, and that means you guys move up as well.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all a cycle, isn't it? And it will come. You make your way through the cycle. You've just got to keep grinding and keep pushing, and yeah. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we're living, what is it, in a year where, you know, Eve have got this partnership with TJPW, and loads of Eve girls have gone over to Japan, and like even this morning, like on Twitter, you see Mariah May and Zaya Brookside in Stardom. So you're like,
I know.
Right, these are the opportunities that are available here that probably, like, I would say weren't available to, like, sort of like the rising stars of British wrestling maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
It is so exciting. It can feel, don't get me wrong, it can feel a little bit intimidating. I woke up, I'd heard rumours of this morning's news happening a little while ago.
Okay, you were in on it already.
You kind of hear rumours.
Yeah.
Until it happens, things change so much. Things can happen, you know. So to see it is a bit like, damn, I wish that was me. But also, oh my God, you know, if they can do it, I can too.
Yeah, there's no reason it can't be me.
Exactly, and I had a really good gym session earlier after I saw it. I was like, right.
Motivated, pushing for it. Love it.
Yeah, it does.
I love it. And what about yourself for then this coming year? We've spoken about some of the rising stars already, but what about yourself for this coming year? You mentioned you had a little bit of gold last year, obviously. What about this year? Some more around the waist, or like any other ambitions, any promotions you'd like to debut for, or people you'd like to face?
I definitely want more gold because it goes really well with my wrestling gear. I do have I haven't said this out loud yet, so I'm going to say it out loud now. I have a target after about April time to cut down work in my shoot job.
Okay.
So I can put more time and really go for it with wrestling.
Awesome.
I just want to grab wrestling by the balls and go with it.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love that.
Yeah, but obviously it's a huge, scary risk. But that's my main goal, to make that possible for the first bit of the year. And oh my God, there's so many places. Eve is the goal for me. Yeah. That is where, if I can debut at Eve this year, I'll probably cry on my entrance. I'll be bawling my eyes out because I'll be so proud of myself. And I feel like Dan Reed, when you're ready, you're ready. He
knows, doesn't he? Like, a few people have said that. Like, he knows when you're ready to make that step.
Yeah, he really does. And for him to think that I was ready for that would just mean, I think then maybe I'd start believing in myself more too. And to be an Eve, got a dream.
Yeah, think about all those matches you could have.
I know, and even just being part of that locker room and like watching how people work and their process, and that would be a huge goal. But I'd also love to get up north more, which is another reason really to cut down some of my shoot job work, so I have the time to go up and spend some time training up there. And you know, I'd love to do TNT, and there's Future Shock. There's so many great places up north that I'd love to get my teeth into as well.
That'd be awesome. We'd love to see you take over the country. That'd be great.
Yes.
That needs to happen. We're going to manifest that. That's going to happen. That's going to happen this year. That'd be incredible. Awesome. And you talk about, like, again, having that go around the race at other promotions as well. And we've spoken to a few people about this, but, like, you sort of mentioned having that, like, self-doubt in yourself. So it must be nice, like, when promotions put a belt on you, in terms of, because we've had people talk about, you know, in sort of like, I guess, real sports, like Roy Johnson talks to us about his like powerlifting and bodybuilding stuff. And like when you're the top of that, you know it's because you're the best at what you do. Whereas with wrestling, it's more like it's because the promoter thinks you're the best, or the promoter has this opinion of you. And that must be really nice and rewarding in itself as well. You know, again, as someone who you say like sort of struggles with like believing in themselves, to have promoters be like, you're the person we want to be at the top of this division.
100%, and Roy's so right with that, because that promoter is choosing you out of everyone to represent that belt for their company. That's huge. And a lot of my friends who don't understand wrestling, when they say to them, like, yeah, but do you really win? And I'm like, it's kind of more than just winning.
Yeah.
Because someone's picked you to say, I believe in you. Here you go. So, yeah, it is massive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? To have that person's, like, back you rather than others. Yeah. And then you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, and you often then, it comes with an opportunity to have sometimes bigger matches too, which, you know, you get to main event, and sometimes you get external talent from that promotion come in. So there's a lot of opportunities that come with it as well. You often get good storylines to sink your teeth into. I do feel like there can be a lack of storyline for women in smaller promotions. You know, you have the women's match, great, and there's not a lot of story. So when you have a belt, you often get more story as well, and I love a proper storyline to really tell. Yeah.
No, for sure. Again, like we when we had Dan Reed on the podcast, he spoke about this. He speaks about this very passionately a lot about, you know, giving women more time and like more storylines. Because I think, like you say, I don't think, you know, I'm not going to name names, but I don't think it's just small promotions. I think there are a couple of bigger promotions who are guilty of that as well. And it's like, it's just bizarre to me because there's so much talent there and so many good stories that you could tell. And it's just weird that some promotions just don't seem to push it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? Because you can have a card with 8 men's matches, one women's. And it's like, how can you not just invest 2 matches for women, or give the women more than 8 minutes?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Trying to tell a proper story, because women tend to be incredibly creative people. We're just, men and women are different, so we can tell a story in such a different way to what the men probably would. I just feel there's so much untapped opportunity in those stories.
Yeah.
I find storytelling way more fun. Yeah, it's straight. And there's so many good female characters as well now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, a key one, I know she's stepped back for now, but like Clementine's a key person for that. What an incredible character who loved telling stories.
Yeah.
But there was just a lack of them out there for her opportunities to tell them.
Yeah, and it's like, it's ridiculous, isn't it? When you look at that talent, like, and especially when you look at, even if you take the last year, like, just the wrestlers in general that have had an incredible year, I would say easily 50%, maybe more than 50% of them are women. Like, you look at, like, Harley Hudson and Ivy and Alexis, and, like, you look at, like, Alex Windsor as well. Like, you look at those names and you're like, you know, why are these names not getting more opportunities elsewhere, or, like, more time elsewhere?
It is so true. And the only thing, honestly, we can do is just, like, keep pushing ourselves and keep proving what we can do. That's all we can do. And the glass ceiling is breaking. There's just more to do in terms of story. Yeah,
like you can see the cracks in it, can't you? You can see the cracks there, and it's just waiting for it to burst. But
yeah, like, I'm really excited with what Alexis is sort of teasing she's doing right now, because I don't know if you've noticed, she's teased a lot of, like, her passion for Disney and really easing herself more into, like, a different character.
Yeah.
And she's become, you know, such a sort of pioneer and leader of the women's division over the last year. I really feel like what she's doing right now, and Lizzie's obviously already got a fantastic character. Maybe they could be the ones to really open that door. Tonga as well, she's got a great character.
Yeah.
I feel like we're almost there.
So close, isn't it? It's so close. Hopefully this year will be the year. Hopefully we'll be talking next year and it will have cracked and we'll be getting all those opportunities and we'll be like, isn't that brilliant? What a great year it's been.
Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing? Let's hope.
That'd be nice. Fingers crossed, right? Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Awesome. And like, talking about, you know, what about your highlights of sort of like the last 12 months? I know you said, like, again, we've talked about a few matches and places you've been, but are there any like moments that stand out for you where you thought, like, you know, this is what I needed, this is the moment that sort of like made me believe like that I can do it, or the moment that you sort of proved something to yourself?
Definitely. I had a match, funny, it was my last match of the year, and it was against Rain Leverkusen, and it was at UBW, which is, UBW is where I first started training, so that's like my home baby home promotion.
Yeah, they brought through so much good talent there, UBW. They bring out just such good talent.
Thank you. We work very hard.
Yeah.
We lift each other up. So thank you. It was. I feel like since I've come back, something in my brain just sort of clicked. It clicked midway through a match when I was doing a running Euro, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I felt like suddenly I was starting to understand how to do this. Because I haven't even had 50 matches yet. So I'm still so new, really. And this light bulb went off. And then I had that match with Rain. And it was the best match I've ever had. The best performance from me. We had great chemistry. I love that girl to bits.
Oh, she's great.
I push her. We trained together as well. And I finished the match and I just felt so proud of myself. And I was like, it's happening. I'm starting to get better. My concept of the locksmith and who I am, the crowd were clearly understanding it, and I was like, yes, that was a really special moment because it felt like all the tough year I'd had and the ups and downs and the self-doubt was all worth it for that. That would definitely be my favourite moment.
Nice, love it. Yeah, Rain's great. I mean, like you said earlier, like debuting for Eve was huge for her, and like so like proud of her for making it because she's such a good talent.
Oh, she works so hard. Like, she will go the whole way. She just can because she's got the passion. And we were talking in the car and, she was like, I have pressure that I should do my accountancy exams. And I'm like, no.
Go for this.
No. Just put everything. You can do your accounting exams any time.
Yeah.
Just do this. Don't worry about the pressure. You'll never regret it. She's amazing.
Yeah, no. Big up Rain. Big up Rain. And talk to me then about, we'll lead into a nice segment we've got here, because you mentioned the locksmith. And we've got a segment here called What's in a Name? And it's where, it's what it says on the tin. I just sort of ask you about what it takes to be you, essentially.
Okay.
So, essentially I'm asking you as a shoot, what does it take to be Evie Madden, the locksmith? What does it take in your mind to be you in the ring?
Courage. What does it take to be me?
If someone was going to be sort of like the stand-in locksmith for a week, for one match, what would you say to them that they need? Like, what's your like vetting process? What do they need to be like that candidate?
I think you need to be a little bit cheeky. A little bit. There are rules, but the rules are there. You can
just twist them a little bit.
Yeah, my motto is ask for forgiveness, not permission. So you need a little bit of that, a little bit of sass, a lot of fire, a lot of courage, a little hint of self-doubt. I think to be me, you just need look around you at the people that inspire you. Take that inspiration and just let it all out in that ring. Nice. Love it. That's kind of what I do.
Love it. Well, again, on the locksmith line, I do have to apologise to you because obviously, a couple of weeks ago we put out our wrestlers as Pokemon list. Because you're the locksmith. So it's
yeah, but it's the worst. I get it, but it's the worst Pokemon. Come on.
I know there's far worse. If I'm fully honest, like I grew up on Gen 1 and Gen 2, so anything beyond that is garbage to me. Do you know what I mean? Anything beyond that, I'm like I don't even have time for you. But like, I think like there's definitely worse Pokemon. Like the one.
I could have been the trash bag.
Yeah.
But that's the only really worst one.
That's definitely a bad one. That's a really.
I understand why you picked the keys, but my name's Evie.
Yeah, to be fair, that was staring me right in the face, and I didn't spot it at all. And to be honest, as a self-professed Pokemon nerd, that was sort of shameful for me. I was upset that I didn't think of that.
I'm such an Evie as well, like as a person, because I kind of am a mixture of every element.
Yeah.
Like if I had to pick which one I am, I'm kind of a different one on different days. Some days I'm Umbreon, some days I'm Flareon.
But which one's your favourite?
Probably probably Leafeon.
Nice. I go Vaporeon myself. Again, Gen 1, so...
Nice.
Yeah. Leafeon's cool. Glaceon's cool as well. I like the ears, like they're all pointy at the end.
Yeah, I just find Leafeon... I don't like a lot of the Leaf Pokemon, so I find Leafeon really useful.
Well, that leads us on to our next feature, and this is more, this is a bit more... Well, it's less about you, and it's more about your fellow wrestlers, because we've bigged up a lot of wrestlers, but now you're going to sort of dish a bit of dirt on them. Because aptly, this segment is called Dishing the Dirt. So, I've done this with a couple of wrestlers already, and we've established that British wrestling is too large a scale to, like, sort of just ask you about wrestlers in general. So I'm going to ask you to pick, before even asking you the questions, so you don't know what's coming, I'm going to ask you to pick your favourite locker room from, like, from where you wrestle regularly. Just pick a locker room, and then we'll go for the wrestlers based in that promotion.
Okay, I'm going to pick... Sacrifice.
Nice. We could have some interesting answers here.
Yeah.
This is going to be good. I like it. Okay, so dishing the dirt on the Sacrifice Pro Wrestling locker room. It starts off with an easy one. Who's always the early bird? Who always the first to arrive?
Who's always first? Someone like Hustle Malone, but that's cheating because it's his own promotion.
He's got to be there early.
Who's always there first? Someone like Ollie Spring. He's always there early. There's a guy, he wrestles as Tony Sin. He wrestles as Sin. And he literally, I think he has deep risen anxiety if he's late.
Sure.
And he'll always be, so we have to be there at 9. He's like, right, we must be there at 8:45. And you're like, no. He's always early, so I'll say Tony Sin.
Nice, I get that, I relate to that. So I'm like, what if there's traffic? What if there's extra, like, reason to be late?
I'm like, it'll be fine, but he can't bear it.
Nice. Well, the next one's who's always the last to leave?
Last to leave? God, I feel like me, because I'm always in a car with people who take ages. Tommy Kyle, he's always like, I want to get away as soon as the show's over. And then he'll spend 45 minutes, he just chats, he loves it. Chatting to everyone, and I'll be standing with my bag ready, because he told me to get ready half an hour ago. Tommy Kyle, he's always like...
Tommy, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, he never mentioned this. Never mentioned it.
He probably doesn't realise he does it, but I'm always there like, let's go!
Hurry up, you told me to be ready.
So annoying.
I get it. Who's the comedian of the locker room?
Oh, Tim Lee.
Yeah.
Is definitely a comedian. I'm hilarious, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm going to say Tim Lee. He's hilarious. He's just naturally... And with Carnage, those two are just comedy gold.
Nice. Love it. Who's the most competitive? This is an interesting one in a wrestling locker room. Because I imagine you all are, but...
Competitive in what way?
In any way. Like, say if you guys are, like, just hanging out socially and you're playing games or something and, like, they're always the one that has to win or something like that. Just in any respect, who's the most competitive? It doesn't have to be, like, in the ring.
I would say Tommy Kyle again, but I've already said him. He's so competitive. Maybe, like... Who's super competitive? Mia Cortez.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say in a match ring basis, she's very competitive. Like, she always wants to have the best match. She always wants to, like, push it to her limits. So I'm going to say her. Nice.
The next one is who takes the longest to get ready? Apart from Tommy Kyle, who doesn't take the longest to get ready, but takes the longest after getting ready.
Who takes the longest to get ready? I take ages. I'm going to say me. But my kick pad covers, putting my kick pads, knee pads, shoes, knee pad, all the covers on, it's like you have to do it in a specific order or else I can't get it on. And I always forget the order.
You need like a note on your hand, like.
Honestly, I'm sweating. It's like a workout. So I'm going to say me.
Brilliant, love it. Next one is who brings the best lunch or like snacks. Doesn't necessarily need to be snacks to share, but who like brings food in and you're like, oh, I wish I had that because that's really good.
Oh, Who brings good snacks? Well, can it be a fan?
It can be a fan.
There's a fan, the nicest girl, Hannah, or B on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I know Hannah. Yeah, she's done a couple of reviews for us. She's lovely.
I love her to bits, and she always brings like, I think it was Halloween, she bought like cakes and treats for the locker room, and she always brings like the best snacks.
Hannah, legend.
She's such a legend.
That's
honestly.
great.
I wish more fans were like her. She's
love
the
that.
best.
Shout out Hannah. Doing the scene proud. I love it. Love to hear that.
Yeah, we love you.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. This is the one that I always say, this is the one that will get you real heat. Like, I'm talking like shoot heat. Because you're going to have to out someone here. Who has the worst dress sense? And I'm talking in real life now. I'm not talking in the ring. I'm not saying whose ring gear is the worst. I'm saying who dresses the worst.
Who dresses the worst? Oh, that's savage.
Yeah, well, also up until this point, it's been pretty kind. So you got to put something in there to rile it up.
Okay, I'm gonna just say the first person that's popped to mind, and only because I think they wear the same thing every time I see them, and I'm gonna say Ken Nelson. I'm sorry, I love you, and I love our cocktail time, but wear something new, bro.
Yeah. Go and get a new wardrobe. Mix it up a little. Mix it up. Brilliant. Well, on the kinder note, in the ring, whose ring gear do you wish you had?
Mercedes Blaze.
Yeah, that's a good show. Yeah.
That girl. Do you know, my partner's mum comes to a couple of shows, and she always talks about Mercedes gear. Always will say, oh, there's this girl that comes out, you should see her gear, she makes it all herself. It shows how much it impacts when it comes out, Mercedes. Yeah, it's a great shout. That's funny as well, because then you're just like, wait, what about mine? Like, you're not saying anything nice about my gear? I know. But she does. She comes out and she just looks like a megastar. Nice. Yeah, she does. Absolutely. Completely agree. Good one. The next one is who cuts the best promo? Charles Crowley. Crowley is great. Crowley, again, like one of those ones that's just had such a good year. Yeah, I mean, again, he works so hard. And the thing with Crowley is, you know, when I started, Crowley was in UBW training school when I walked in the door. He's one of the first people to speak to me. He just has a different mind for wrestling, and at first he used to be told all the time, that's not how you do it, you need to do it this way, blah blah blah, and he was like, why? Yeah, I don't get it. But he just didn't understand, and it's because he sees things in such a different way. And I kept saying to him, like, no, screw them, like, you've got something. Oh, and he does. Different to everyone else. And he still has those moments of doubt, of course, but he just has a different mind, and because of it, I mean, when we're talking about storytelling, he's really showing people how you can tell a true story through matches. Yeah. And I mean, doesn't he get a standing ovation at every Progress match he does? Yeah. Yeah. And I wasn't there for, I can say this now because it would have gone out by now. I wasn't there for Crowley Clementine at Resurgence. But like we had our end of year awards, and we let fans vote on their match of the year. We let our reviewers vote on the match of the year. And that was like, basically like the top place was, who was it? It was Oku Osprey. But like that was in second behind it. And like to be the second best match of the year, like behind Oku Osprey is like, that was insane. Like I wasn't there unfortunately, but I heard it was just a fantastic match. I need to watch it back. It's on the YouTube, isn't it? I need to watch it back. Yeah, I didn't get to go unfortunately, but I was avidly on the phone to both of them, like, how is it going? Because they're two of my real life closest friends. They firstly showed how you can do a boy versus a girl. Very important to just mention that, because at no point I feel like with that build was it about being a boy versus a girl. No, exactly. At no point. And this is what so many women, especially, you know, Charlie Evans, we're all trying to shout about is it's just two wrestlers who got in the ring and told the best story of the year. And when you think they only had one match to tell that story, but the promos they did before were so excellent, we were all so invested. Everyone will talk about that match forever.
Yeah, that was like those promos were heartbreaking. Like we gave them in our awards. We gave them our like social media stars of the year for those, because that was like, that pulled you in. That got you invested.
And do you know what it was? They were speaking from the heart. Those promos were so genuine. And you know, I've done a few promos, and I just try and emulate that. Like some people, they do a promo and they're like, this weekend when I wrestle, they really show it's just be yourself, be your true self. But yeah, Crowley, sorry, that went on a really big tangent.
No, I love a tangent here. We love a tangent. But like that's the thing, isn't it? They've both together, like, I feel like it's sort of like swerved wrestling a bit, and like what you can do in wrestling, because like, I don't think anyone's done what Crowley and like BDSM as a team have done before.
No, exactly. And again, you forget that it's a boy and a girl. They really have opened a doorway and changed people's view and opinion. But it's, you know, it's hard. I want to be as good a storyteller as them. That is my goal, really. I want to be as good a storyteller as them.
Yeah, and that's huge praise for them as well to hear. To be like, okay, like people want to emulate this.
Yes, definitely, because every match I've tried to tell a true story in, I've enjoyed and remembered so much more than, you know, when I've taken 100 million moves. Obviously, it's not quite as fun.
Your body remembers those ones.
Yeah.
But you're like, no. Blank it out.
Yeah, literally. Oh, yeah. My knees remember those stat God.
Love it. Well, the next two I think in this list are by far sort of like the most interesting. Because the next one is, out of everyone in the locker room, who would you trust the most to plan you a surprise party?
Ooh. Who would I trust to plan me a surprise?
Yeah, it's not really a surprise if you know about it, but...
Yeah, that's true.
A party.
I think someone like Ava White.
Yeah.
I just think she'd put on the best bash.
Nina Samuel said that as well. At the time of recording, this hasn't gone out yet, but like once this has gone out, that would have gone out before, but she said that as well.
That's so interesting. I just feel like she'd be so good at all the details, and she'd really think about what you wanted. Yeah. And also do things that you'd never think of.
Yeah, be like, oh, I didn't even think to do that. That'd be great. Love it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the final one, this is my favourite question, I think. The final one is, who would you want by your side in the zombie apocalypse?
Who would I want by my side?
Who's gonna be the best partner to have in that scenario, helping you get through?
Who would I want? Oh, there's so many people that pop to my mind.
You can say someone you've already said if you want. Like, it doesn't need to be a one and done kind of deal.
I feel like someone like Warren Banks.
Nice.
I feel like I don't know, I feel like he'd come up with good strategy, and he's quite calm. He'd be like, right, okay, we should do this, we do this. He's tall, so I feel like I could stand on his shoulders to climb trees. I feel like he could run fast. I feel like he's such a papa bear, so I feel like he'd protect me. Yeah, Warren Banks.
Nice, good choice. Hopefully it doesn't have to come to that, but it's good to know that, like, you know, I'm sure Warren will appreciate that as well. You roping him into that.
He'll probably be like, what? I'll push you in front of him. Well, I like to think he wouldn't, really.
Hopefully not. We'll see. We've already had him on. I need to get him back on and ask him.
Oh, God.
Brilliant. Well, while you're here, I'd like to ask you about your like shoot job, if you're cool talking about it, because you do work in like TV and stuff, don't you? Yeah. And like, I think a few wrestlers do that, like that we've had on as well, and it seems like a very tailor-made career for a wrestler, because it's about that like entertainment, and it's about sort of like storytelling, it, like you say, and things like that.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of us are so creative, so a lot of people do actually have very creative career paths. So yeah, my real job is I work in the costume department for TV shows and films. So I look after all the people that do not have a speaking role. So, for example, stuntmen, dancers, people that drive the action vehicles, kids, anyone that's like an extra. I look after all those people.
Nice.
So
That's pretty cool.
Do everything from once we get the script, I help get all the costumes in. We do all the fittings. So that's like thousands of people when you think a whole film.
Yeah.
We fit them all, and then when we come to that shooting that scene, all the extras, all the background people will come in. I'll get them all ready in the morning. I'll go to set with them, and my main job is that I co-run the set. So anything that's going on, for example, when I was shooting before Christmas, they decided to do a scene where they wanted to have the person's shoes off, and suddenly they've got bright yellow socks on. So suddenly you've got to, change people, silly little things like change their socks, or someone tries to sneak their Apple Watch in on, and and it's a medieval, you got
to have like the eagle eye for it, yeah.
I did House of the Dragon, and this girl put her bright pink Fitbit on during a take, and I was like, oh, for God. So it's putting out little fires. Stuntmen rip their trousers all the time, sewing up people's crotches, which is very glamorous.
Lovely, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a very taxing physical job. I work 16-hour days. I work up and down the country and abroad sometimes. But it's amazing. I've worked on Indiana Jones 5, House of the Dragon. I've done Mission Impossible. I've worked on some of the biggest films in the world. I'm really lucky. Yeah,
that's really cool. Have you had is there any like insider info we can get here in terms of like anything you've done costume-wise that like you can be like, oh, that would be good as gear, like, and that you've like attributed to that?
There's actually loads. I can't even think right now, but like there's so many things that you do see, or little tricks. So when things break or you have an issue with the gear, I'm like, oh, I know this little way to fix it. Like I've got a belt on my gear and it's snapped, just for, wear and tear. So I knew how to fix it. And to my friends' gear, when they snap bits or they get holes in it, I can fix it all. I also really have been thinking about, I really want to start my own business, and I've been thinking about putting all my construction and design experience into starting a little business of designing and making gear for people.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in the fashion first and then the film industry for over 10 years. I've got so much experience. I don't know why I don't just do it, but it's kind of scary, isn't it?
No, I get that. But maybe one day.
Yeah, when I cut down work, I'm hoping to wrestle and hopefully feel some of the income by doing that as well.
Nice. I love that. Well, good luck for you for wanting to start that. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. So how did you like come into that? Because like I used to work in TV as well, but like nothing as big as that. I used to work in like local TV down in Brighton. But like is that something you'd always wanted to do?
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah, when I was at school, ever since I was little, I've always drawn clothes. Always. I used to have like, I don't know if you remember Groovy Chick.
I can't say I'm familiar, no.
It was like a girl's thing. It was like this girl, it was like, I don't know, a little cartoon really. And it used to be on notepads and stationery. And this was when I was like 8 and I used to draw these designs in it.
Okay.
So when I went to like...
Oh, is that like the stick figure with like curly hair? I feel like I've seen this.
She kind of had like blonde, like flicky hair.
Yeah.
Little cute outfits.
I feel like I've seen something like that in shops.
Yeah, she was great. And so when I went to university, I knew I was going to do something clothing based. And I decided to go down the costume route rather than the fashion route, as I've always loved... I've always loved history, but I've also loved English and stories and clothes. So it kind of amalgamated the three, really.
Yeah.
I always loved performance. And then so kind of from there, I kind of got into it that way, really. It's been a journey to get there, but I worked in fashion for many years first.
Right.
And then I got into film. Actually, after the pandemic, I got into film properly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's kind of a lot of who you know.
Yeah, oh yeah, everything like entertainment based is all like, if you know people, then you're pretty much in.
Yeah, and literally one of my university friends, was in the industry because her auntie was in the industry. And so she put me forward for this job, and I started a week later, and it's kind of gone from there.
Nice. That's
so it
awesome.
is luck, and I've got friends that a lot of people are working in film now. Like, so Crowley works obviously in film too.
Yeah.
We sort of suggested the idea to people like Warren Banks, so he's doing it now as well. And a lot of people are trying to get into stunts because you've got your Justin Sisums and your JD Knights. They all work in stunts too.
Yeah. And wrestling again, great profession to like get into for it because people know you can take a bump.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of training to be a fully fledged stunt man, but you can start as what's called a SPACT, which is special action, and it's honestly, I think sometimes we do scarier things in the ring for 20 quid in a sports hall.
Yeah, people are like, can you do this? Like, easy, child's play.
Honestly, all my colleagues are like, go on, show them how it's done. And I'm like, okay. So it does go really hand in hand.
Love it. Well, as we've got your sort of like TV mind here, it would be a shame not to ask you about this. I'm going to ask you, because we've asked a couple of other people who work in TV for this as well. So if you're sort of pitching a TV show or a film, it's not about wrestling, but you need to cast 3 people in British wrestling for it, like a protagonist, an antagonist, and like a wild card. Who are you casting?
Oh, okay.
Or let's say you're the protagonist, and like who'd your antagonist be? Who'd be up against you? And what sort of show would it be? What would you write?
Who's my arch nemesis?
Yeah.
Who could be my arch nemesis? Good question.
I feel like there's a couple that would be good ones. But like,
who do you think? Maybe it'll give me some ideas.
I don't know. Again, like you mentioned the Rain thing. Rain might be a good one because like I know you guys are close. And, like that would be a good one as like maybe the friend who turns antagonist at the end. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then there's that big like sort of end to the rivalry there. It's been like her sabotaging you the whole time, sort of thing.
Do you know what? That actually makes me think. I hate to say this. I feel like is it antagonist?
Yeah.
Could be Stevie Turner.
Oh yeah.
She could be trying to like corrupt me all the way, and then maybe at the end she finally does, or I turn her good. So she could be my best friend / arch nemesis.
Or someone like Ava's got like a Bond villain vibe about her. You know what I mean? Like you could picture her sitting in the chair with the cat, like.
So true. Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, she definitely Bond villain vibes. Stevie gives me like Matrix vibes. They'd be really good ones.
Depends what you're going for.
Rain's too much the good guy.
No, that's true. Yeah, maybe she wouldn't turn. That might be bad.
I feel like I'd be the baddie.
Yeah. Like you stab her in the back.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That would be the big shock, wouldn't it? The protagonist that you follow the whole journey is the bad guy.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm secretly being really sneaky behind her.
Yeah.
I like it.
What would the show be? What are you gonna go for? I can't imagine it'd be something like a western or anything. But like, what sort of genre are we talking?
We've definitely got to do medieval. My favourite is always medieval. So
Nice. Yeah, get Crowley in there as well. He can be like sort of like, I don't know, some sort of medieval like sheriff or something. Someone who likes the attention.
He's the court jester.
Oh, they are actually. Yeah, welcome to the show, of course.
The bell ringer. Maybe.
Yeah. Love it, brilliant. Well, now we need to see that, don't we? Like, yeah. I think you've got to hold off on like the ring gear stuff. This has got to be next. This has got to be the next big venture.
Yeah, I'll chat to Crowley, see what he wants to do.
Yeah, there you go. I mentioned to Tommy Carr when we had him on, we've got to get it done for next year now. But we have a final segment here on the show. It's called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler, and this is now a shoot. This is about you. This isn't about Evie Madden anymore. So I'm just going to ask you some questions, and you let me know what comes to mind.
Okay.
So the first one is, it's sort of like almost quick fire, but we can elaborate on some stuff if you want as well.
Okay.
So the first one is my favourite pre-show meal.
Pre-show meal. Coffee.
Nice, simple. Keep it light, get their energy up.
I actually can't eat before a match, so coffee.
I get that. Next one, well, on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's my favourite post-pinfall pig out.
What do I like straight after? Noodles.
Nice. Are we talking like sort of like just like fried noodles, like stir-fried noodles or something like, or like the pot noodle?
Yeah, sometimes at the service stations you get this. It's called like Chosen or Shozen.
Oh yeah.
Anything from there.
Yeah, that's good. Good shout. This one's the song that gets me the most hyped.
It's definitely Jessie J, Ariana Grande, and whoever the third person is in it. Bang Bang.
Oh yeah, great song.
Such a good song.
Perfect for getting the energy up. Love it.
Yeah.
The next one is the movie that I'd show the locker room.
Oh God.
So I always say, like, it doesn't have to be your favourite movie necessarily, but the movie you think everyone should see.
Movie everyone... Only because it's fresh on my mind, Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls.
I watched it the other night and it's just so good.
That's a great shout. Great shout.
Anything with Beyonce.
Oh, Beyonce's queen, right? Like, she is the queen.
God almighty.
Next one's my favourite way to relax.
My favourite way to relax is playing games.
Nice. Yeah. Back to like video games, back to like the Pokemon and stuff like that, or...
Definitely. It's like escapism, for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know why I said that, because board games aren't relaxing. They're the opposite. Board games are like, oh...
Well, I'm not very good at... I can't read the rules. I'm very dyslexic, so I can't read the rules. And
right.
then I get frustrated that I don't know what's going on. And I'm very competitive. I can't really play games like that.
That's all a bad mix, isn't it? Especially being the competitive on top of that.
Yeah, not great.
No, I get it. The next one's a bit of a throwback, because it's my first job.
My first job?
Yeah.
My first job, I was behind the cashier's desk in H&M.
Classic. The classic first job.
Yeah, it was great. I used to get 50% off. It was amazing.
No, tell you what, that's a bonus, isn't it? Especially like as a first job, you're like, I've got money coming in and I save.
Yeah, I mean, I basically gave all the money back and bought all the clothes. But for a first job when you're like 16, it was amazing.
That's a good first job. I like it. The next one gets a little deep because it's my greatest fear.
Ooh. My greatest fear is having loads of regret.
I get that.
Yeah, like I have a lot of fear of failure, but I have a bigger fear of regret. Like one of my biggest things, one of the reasons I couldn't walk away from wrestling when I was struggling so much is like, imagine when you're a parent, my kids will ask about wrestling, and they will ask, why did you quit? And imagine me saying, because I was scared. I just can't. So I definitely have a fear of regret. No,
I get it. The next one's a two-parter, because it's my favourite wrestling match ever. And you've already spoken about one, which is your one with Rain, as your favourite. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but the other side of it is I want your favourite match that you've watched as well.
Favourite ever match is Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio SummerSlam 2002.
Great match. It's
just timeless.
Yeah, that's such an underrated one as well. Like that, you're definitely the first person that said it on the podcast.
Really?
So yeah, but like that's such an underrated one because you think of like all the classics, don't you? But like that is an underrated gem.
It's just from start to finish, unbelievable beauty.
Great. And in terms of your favourite, you mentioned it was that one with Rain. I mean, like that must be nice to have those sort of moments again with like someone who you say you're so close to as well.
Yeah, I mean that's my favourite match from this year.
Okay. What about ever then?
Ever match is the first match I had after lockdown in 2021 with Clementine.
Nice.
She's one of my best friends, so and we had a really good match at UKPW. We just brought out the best of each other. We had fun, we told a story, it was great.
Yeah, and while we're at it, shout out Clementine, because she stepped away for a bit. Hopefully she'll be back at some point, but best of luck to her with whatever she's doing. I mean, like, she's been such a gem for the scene.
Champion. She's just pursuing other passions.
Yeah, exactly. But she's been such a gem for the scene as well, hasn't she? She's like, like we said with like her and Crowley, they've just raised the bar so high. Yeah.
And it is a shame that she stepped back for now. But you know what? She's just got so many other passions in other areas. And life's short. Like, go for it.
Yeah, you got it while you got the time, right?
Exactly.
Again, no regrets.
No regrets.
Love it. The next one is the loudest pop I've ever heard. But let's say in person. Can't be like on the TV.
Ooh, the loudest pop I've ever heard. I feel like it was when Cara Noir won the Progress Championship. I was crewing. And it was...
That was huge.
I didn't expect it. It was unreal. I had my hairs and my arms were all on end. It was a really inspiring moment.
Yeah, that was huge. I had a feeling it was going to happen because like he'd had that push and like it felt like he'd been so underrated for so long.
Yeah.
Like that he so deserved that belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he should have it back. Cara. Well, Tom now in progress, isn't he? He's not Cara anymore because Spike owns that.
Stories he's still telling. You know, like him and Spike, again, ultimate storytellers.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And they've had some like great feuds in other promotions as well, like Resurgence as well, wasn't it? And Riptide down in Brighton. Like they know how to tell a story together. They work so well together.
Yes, they really, really do. Like phenomenal promo. They just are.
Yeah. And I like Cara as well, that we talk about in terms of like training people. Like we talk about people who are lifting others up. Like he's someone who could he could just go about his business and be like one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. But like he passes that on as well, that knowledge on to other people as well. And
do you know what? In the pandemic, in lockdown 3, how many?
One of them.
The last one. It's before Play Fight became Play Fight, and it was Reset Lab, and they basically himself and his partner Claire held Reset Lab, and it was from home because we were all locked in, and it was 3 times a week, and we basically via Zoom did a lot of like movement and control and just kind of all worked out together, but in this flow style.
Nice.
And I did it for 3 months, throughout the whole 3 months, 3 times a week, and it really was my mental salvation during that time. And you know, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
They didn't have to take their time. They've got a little girl, you know, they've got full-time jobs, businesses to run, and they kind of took that time to still help people grow and learn. And I wish we still had it.
Yeah.
I can't. Play Fight's too far away from me, unfortunately, to go on a regular basis. So it meant I could access his training.
Yeah.
At home, it was great.
It's one of those ones though that's awkward, isn't it? You don't want the camera to freeze at the wrong moment when you're doing some sort of awkward stretch.
It happened all the time. We had such a good group. It was like your Bo Bells and your Tarquins, and such a great group of amazing, encouraging people. I loved those sessions. I was thinking about them earlier. I really miss them.
Love that. Tom, bring them back. Bring them back once a week.
Yeah.
Once a week. Little Zoom stretch.
We're just too far away.
Love it. Only a couple more. The next one is my favourite place in the world.
Is it bad to say home?
No, it's not bad at all. Scotty Rourke said it was his bed, so...
Yeah, I have a little flat of my own, and when I suffer a lot with anxiety, and when I'm here is when I'm truly my calmest.
Yeah.
So home's my favourite place.
I get that. And the final one on the opposite end of the spectrum is my dream holiday destination.
I really want to go back to Japan. I have been before. Funny enough, before I wrestled though. So I really want to go back and...
Do both. Yeah, so Japan. Yeah, tourist and wrestling. Love it. That's the perfect mix.
Obviously, wrestling in Japan is, let's be honest, the ultimate dream. I'm a bit worried I might be over the age bracket.
No, it's fine. We can make it work.
I hope so.
Get down on phone.
Go to Japan. Again, I just cry the whole time.
This is it. We need your, this is 2023 has got to be the year that you debut in Eve and impress Dan so much that he sends you to Japan as well.
Oh, please. Even if I knew 2023 I was closer and 2024 it might be, yeah, that'd be unreal. Dan,
if you're watching, make it happen. That's what we all want to see. Right. Love it. Brilliant. Well, Evie Madden, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's been a pleasure having you on. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. It's been really fun.
Good. I'm glad. That means a lot. We always end with giving our guest one final bit of promo time. So we're at the beginning of 2023 now. If anyone is watching this, Dan Reed or anyone else is watching this, sees you on a poster, wants to come to a show, or wants to book you on a show, or wants to bring you to America or Japan, or anything like we've discussed over the course of this podcast, why is Evie Madden going to steal the show in 2023? I think I'm going to steal the show because people relate to me. They see in me something that's similar to them. I'm relatable. I'm kind of just like them. I'm kind of an underdog. I don't really believe in myself, but I do it somehow anyway.
I'm just going to work so bloody hard that you can't ignore me.